Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome everyone to the first round of our National Kappa League debate challenge between New Brunswick Alumni Chapter and St. Louis Alumni Chapter. I would like to take this moment to welcome all of our competitors as well as our judges today. At this time, I will turn everything over to our host as we begin kicking off our debate challenge today.
Great. Thanks, Brother Johnson. This is Brother Michael Edwards. Welcome by all Kappa Leaguers. Thank you, brothers, and also thank you to our community partners and judges. This is our inaugural National Kappa League Debate Challenge. The Eastern Province previously did this, and we had a great experience before. It really allowed young men to do three things. Number one was be able to conduct scholarly research. So in today's debate topic, you will see a topic presented by the affirmative team. The teams individually did scholarly researching, looking at unbiased journals and other documentation to support their position on the resolution. That was the first thing. The second thing that you will see these young men be able to do is to organize their thoughts, organize their arguments in some type of logical fashion that would be able to present their case. That's the second thing and purpose of this debate. And then the third thing is for young men to be able to provide persuasion and provide oratorical delivery as they present their case. And so in all of this, we wanted young men to be able to learn within the realm of Kappa, but we want everybody to be able to learn how to conduct research, compile their thoughts, and present persuasive delivery. Today's topic will be presented by the affirmative and negative team. There will be some breakout rooms where we'll go into the breakout rooms and they will be able to organize your thoughts a little bit better around what their opponent said. During that time, we will go around the room a little bit and talk to our judges a little bit. Thank you for coming. We'll talk to parents that are looking at their youth and their kids present. And then we'll also be able to talk to other brothers within Kappa just about this entire experience. At this time, I will stop and prepare the affirmative team. I think the affirmative team is from St. Louis. Is that correct?
New Brunswick is the affirmative.
Got it. New Brunswick is the affirmative team. New Brunswick, I will stop talking. As soon as I stop talking, I will give the mic over to you. As soon as you start talking, your time will start. And you've got the affirmative case, and you've got in your presentation, you've got a 5-minute affirmative case. I'm going to stop talking and to pass it over to New Brunswick. Thank you for coming.
Good afternoon. My name is Jordan Dumas, and I'm a part of the New Brunswick Alumni Kappa League. My group would be debating for the affirmative position of social media news being regulated. Social media news is a modern tendency of getting news from people in your network and the reading of news from pages you follow. Even though this type of news is the most convenient for many people, there are many flaws to it, such as a higher susceptibility to misinformation and the fact that national security could be at odds. Social media news should be regulated to prevent these flaws from getting to the point that causes events like what happened on January 6th at the Capitol. National security is at a compromise when social media news isn't regulated. An example of this is terrorism, which is a worldwide problem. A quote from an article from cato.org says that terrorist groups use the internet to disseminate their ideology to recruit new members and to take credit for attacks around the world. In addition, some people who are not members of these groups may view this content and could begin to sympathize with or to adhere to the violent philosophies these groups advocate. They might even act on these beliefs. This shows how terrorist groups utilize social media to further their intentions of causing evil in the free world and could be a danger to the American people and influencing them to be a part of their group. This should be regulated to prevent future tragedies from happening and harming the free world. Another example of social media news which could damage the national security of the United States is foreign influence on our free elections. This is evident in the 2016 presidential election, in which the Russian government bought ads advocating the election or defeat of the candidates for federal office. This action that the Russian government had on social media news changed the course of the country to a more divided nation. Based on the constant threats that the US has, it is necessary that social media news should be federally regulated so that we can preserve democracy and remain the pinnacle of the free world. There is nothing new with federally regulating social media news because other countries have done it. For example, Germany created the Network Enforcement Act, which imposes content liabilities on categories of social media services. Having these types of laws in place would hold social media news accountable for the information they allow to go on in their platform and would be dealt with consequences if they are not able to comply with the rules in place. This idea would be held even more truthful with monetized social media news. Social media news that has its content monetized should be regulated directly and indirectly in the same sense that trade is by the Commerce Clause in the Constitution. The Commerce Clause is a doctrine located in the Constitution under the enumerated powers of Congress. This allows Congress to regulate commerce with foreign nations, states, and with Native American tribes. Because social media is not only a national platform, but a worldwide platform, it makes logical sense that the Commerce Clause should be implemented in the same way as it does for trade. To go even further, what's appropriate and what's not on these social media platforms? They would create a new federal agency called the Social Media News Commission, in which would monitor all the social media news and will look for anything along the lines of hate speech and terrorist groups. If Congress suspects an account to be very damaging to national security, they'll bring it to the intelligence community, who would not only ban the account, but would take the contents of that account to see what they're plotting against the United States. By creating such legislation would help us prevent attacks from happening on our democracy and of the lives of the American people. This is why social media news should be federally regulated. And the reason why our group created new federal agencies because of the fact that allow people to have access to more factual information. And by doing this, would make the American population more educated on various issues and could prevent like different variables which could impact going elections, federal agency in place. And we believe that it would be beneficial for the United States national security, but with all this information.
Great job. At this time, we will have cross-examination.
What's the time for cross-examination?
Time for cross-examination. 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay.
Negative team, you ready?
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin McCall. And one point the opposing team speak during the election by buying ads. But I would like to ask, what are your sources for this accusation that Russia did intervene in the election?
Are you able to repeat the question? I wasn't able to hear you at first.
My question was, could you cite the sources you have on how Russia intervened in the 2016 election?
It was a source from cato.org, and I'll be able to put in the link in the chat. And it's called Why the Government Should Not Regulate Media. So I can send you the link.
Thank you for answering my question. I have a follow-up question. You also mentioned how there was I believe at the end of your argument that there would be a group that would basically go through the internet and find hate speech and other terrorism on social media and then regulate that. But I'd like to ask, how would they regulate from serious hate speech situations from non-serious hate speech situations? Like, I don't know, like just a little joke from like a little kid or something.
I would say that there's already things in place in which I would say regulate like the severity of an offense that someone does in terms of hate speech or says something that shouldn't be said. And an example of this is from an American Politics in Today textbook, which states that during the George W. Bush administration, the FCC acted more frequently to sanction radio and television broadcasters for the use of words, phrases, and pictures that might be considered in the category of filthy words. And I think by being able to regulate social media news would help I guess like misinformation, and also hold people accountable who are doing the misinformation, who are like bringing up about more misinformation
Time.
that is spread.
Okay. Good questioning, good cross-examination. Now at this time, the negative team will prepare to present their case. As soon as I'm done speaking, negative team, you have the mic. Scott,
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Brother Johnson, you're gonna be a pro at this as soon as we're done. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, sir. I'm ready.
All right, negative team, you're up.
Hi, I'm Mato Jallo from Kappa League St. Louis, and we're the negative side of why government should not regulate social media news. And I'm actually in 8th grade. So first, America was founded on freedom of speech, and your constitutional right should be common knowledge at this point. And democracy is everyone getting a voice. So when you're regulating it, you're kind of taking away from the social out of media. And why it's that is because when you regulate an account enough times, it gets banned. The QAnon users, the 70,000 QAnon users from the Harvard Institute, or from John Samples, 70,000 Twitter QAnon users got banned for being regulated enough by the HBR. Also, hackers could get into these things to help ban these accounts, and these hurt businesses because businesses use social media to get platforms. Platforms are what many people use to get social media. You have 2.7 billion Facebook followers, 2.3 billion Twitter followers. You got that's 2.3 billion YouTube users. Those are a lot of users who need that media to get platform. Some gain revenue from these channels or places. And you could always see the government may treat its stars, quote, unfairly. You can see YouTube treats the bigger channels more fairly when regulating their news. What's to say the government couldn't do that? The government, it's different. And also, the government could go too far. You've seen people get regulated enough on social media to even ban the president. And no matter your thoughts on the president, that is still the president of the United States. To ban the president of America from using media seems a bit harsh, a bit extra. So the government can target media, but they could also go further. You can see you see YouTube taking down posts. What's to say they start going to the next areas, the local news, the national news? They could regulate that because all the national news is run by human beings, and human beings aren't perfect. That's also common to know. We're not perfect, and sometimes you share your opinions on the national news. This could be, so my main points are, this is that could be a platform for business. The government could go too far. If you regulate these medias, people can lose their jobs, and it's important not to take the social out of social media. I'm Addo, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you. If you have any questions, please ask.
Do I start the cross-examination now?
Brother Johnson, what's the time? Brother Johnson, you're on mute.
Seconds left.
We'll let time expire.
How many seconds left, you said?
1 minute and 7 seconds now.
Well, I'm ready. I'm ready for questions. I mean, you could say the media also, it's hard for them to distinguish politics, hate speech, and facts. So when you say the government can't do that. There's so many questions you could ask off of if the government could regulate media. The government isn't a person. The government is made up of people. People still make up. It's not. No one says it would be flawless. No one would say it's 100% flawless. No one would say that. But also in 1946 in Alabama, Supreme Court ruled that the government could not restrict First Amendment rights, and this is definitely could restrict First Amendment rights in as far as limiting speech enough to limit, well,
Time.
thank you.
Okay, great job. We'll begin with cross-examination now. And just as a point of appropriateness, if you are done, you can always yield your time back and say we're done, or not, just to let us know. But thanks so much. All right, we'll begin with the question.
All right. My first question is that the ban that you had mentioned on the president was done by the social media company itself. You say that that the government may not have the capabilities to regulate fairly. However, a quote from Council on Foreign Relations says that companies are asking the government to regulate social media. So if not the government, the elected officials that the people choose themselves, who is better to regulate social media?
The media companies themselves, because the media companies, when the media regulates, that's their own business. They're supposed to be allowed to do that from the branch of Amendment 1. But when the government shouldn't be allowed to go take over the media.
but the media companies don't want to regulate themselves because another position from Council of Foreign Regulations is that they don't distinguish the stars from regular people. So such as comments that Trump may have made, a regular person's account would have already been suspended. They wouldn't have normally let it go that far. So being that the companies don't regulate fairly, who is better than the government?
First of all, I would like to say the Council of Foreign Regulations. Are you sure that was one of the articles we chose? We chose the Cato Institute. We chose. Oh yeah, we did. But as far as that goes, may you repeat that?
I said that the Council of Foreign Relations says that the companies don't regulate with fairness to their stars versus their lower followers. So who is better than the government to regulate, especially when the companies themselves don't want that responsibility?
Well, I would say that their own media problems are starting to stop going by their stars and start regulating media. You could see that most people will know that the common knowledge of PewDiePie getting a YouTube strike. The president was a star. He had many followers on Twitter, generated much money for Twitter, and he got banned as well.
Okay, my next question is, during these times of revolution and reform, companies admit that they are unable to regulate themselves. When it comes to social media news, because of this time of reform, wouldn't you say that the government regulating social media, it will better help the relationship between the government and its people?
Oh, definitely. You're saying, so you're, if I understand you right, you're saying that the government regulating media would help relations between the people and the government?
Yes.
I'm not so sure about that.
All right. Great affirmative case presentation. Great negative case presentation. Now we're getting ready for breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, the affirmative team and the negative team will go in for 3 minutes into their own breakout rooms with their team and coaches and develop their rebuttal statements. After they come out of the rebuttals, then we'll continue into closing remarks. So Brother Hockenbrook, if you would, I think you've got everybody assigned for the breakout rooms, young men and coaches. We'll go into our breakout rooms, and while you're gone, we're going to talk and get to know our judges a little bit.
All right. That's 3 minutes?
That's 3 minutes.
Brother Johnson, you got to let me know when that time.
Brother Johnson.
Will do. I have the time on.
You'll see on your screen now some things happening where the young men are going. We'll start with a veteran at this. Judge Howard, thanks for coming on. I see you there. Thanks for joining us again. You joined us during the Eastern Province inaugural when we did this within the province, which was just DC, Virginia, and Maryland. And now you'll see that we've expanded this thing nationally, and we appreciate you coming back. What are your thoughts on what we've done before in this actual activity? And we'll get to the other two judges.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, it's why I'm back. I was really impressed with it. In high school, speech and debate was something particularly important to me. And I remember being told I needed to do speech before I could do debate so I could learn how to present properly before I stepped out to that. And it's amazing to me in particular that they are debating here in the oldest type of debate format that was formalized. They're not doing the easier type events like a congressional debate or something of that fashion. They're doing something very much like Lincoln Douglas, but even beyond that, more classic. And they're excelling at it. To see 8th graders and young men in high school jumping out and with such a short time to prepare, presenting so professionally. I mean, some of the attorneys I see in my courtroom could learn a thing from these young men. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge Howard, and thanks for being here. Attorney Felton, thank you for being as well. What are your reaction or thoughts to this activity?
Well, I'm very impressed, given the age, and I wasn't expecting as much as I've seen so far. So I'm grateful that I can actually, be here and sit and be able to judge this, and I'm anxious to see more.
Awesome. Thank you, Attorney Felton. In your honor, Judge Robinson, thank you for being here. Robinson Styles, thank you for being here. Any thoughts or comments that you would like to share?
You're very welcome. I echo the sentiments of my fellow judges. I was quite taken. I assumed that these were high schoolers, all of them. And when the young man from the negative team, Mr. Diallo, indicated he was in the 8th grade, I was awestruck. I'm quite impressed with their oratory skills at such a young age. And, you know, my husband's a Kappa, so I'm a little biased at the level of preparation for these young men by these Kappa gentlemen who have taken them under their wing. So there's no shocker there, but I find this a rather impressive thing, and I'm looking forward to some of these young men moving on to legal careers and possibly attending the Howard University School of Law, might I add. As my fellow barrister, Mr. Felton, and I have done.
Awesome. And I think Judge Howard as well.
Well, as a fellow Bison, at least from the undergrad level, we would welcome them there as well. And we would also welcome them at Georgetown Law across the city.
We'll take it.
Either which way, as long as they can get in the Bison family, they're doing well.
Well, thank you three for being for judging and assessing these young men and sharing these words. I am glad to present them in a different shape and form and manner, young men, in cases of anywhere else they could be or be in front of you for other things. So thank you. We're trying to make a difference. Not that we're trying.
Excuse me, is the breakout room over? I got thrown out.
Break room it should be over probably 3 minutes, Brother Johnson. You think it's 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's 3 minutes.
Yes, yes, brother Huckleberg should have brought everybody back.
Yep, we planned that perfectly. So we got to meet the judges while you guys were in the breakout rooms. We will jump right back into it. At this time, we are ready for the affirmative team to present their 5-minute rebuttal. And then we will go back into another breakout room just for 3 minutes. And then the negative team will come out. For right now, let's listen to the affirmative team rebuttal.
So I'm Tyler Best.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Best, and I will be stating the affirmative rebuttal. To reiterate our past sentiments, we define social media news as the modern trend of receiving news from people in your network and reading news from pages you follow. As motioned by my preceding teammates, social media news should be regulated to prevent the insurrectionist, terrorist, incitement, infringement on national security, and the spread of misinformation. Regulating social media news would violate people's First Amendment rights. Social media networks don't protect social media news First Amendment rights because of the fact that they're private companies and are not subjected to the following those rights that are only applied to the federal, state, and local governments. This is supported by an article from JDSUPRA, which states that the constitutional right to free speech is not implicated by the action of these private social media platforms because they are private entities, not arms of the government. If social media news was protected by the First Amendment rights, there would still be limits with such as speech that incites violence. An example of this was Donald Trump's insurrection speech, which incited violence on the Capitol, and as a result, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media. Just to touch on the topic of a government holding too much power, Section 230 is an integral legislation which neither increases nor decreases government authority over speech on social media, so there would be no need to worry about that. Also, to touch on the topic of Marsh versus Alabama, which was regarding public shopping malls, in Lloyd Court versus Tanner, which occurred 26 years later, the Supreme Court overturned Logan Valley, saying a shopping mall did not constitute a public forum and thus need not obey the First Amendment. But we're talking about social media news, not shopping malls. Furthermore, social media are privately owned forums for speech. Social media are not government and hence are not constrained by the First Amendment. Social media managers have been found to discriminate among speakers according to the content of their speech and viewpoints expressed. YouTube has also come under fire for allegedly treating their stars who bring in more revenue more leniently. It was also criticized for not removing false claims of US election fraud and other misinformation quickly. According to CFR.org, Facebook blocked 3.3 billion pieces of spam content, while only 32 million pieces of hate speech was blocked. That's nearly a difference of 3 billion. YouTube reports removing 5.5 million pieces of spam, whilst the removal of promotional violence and violent extremism is only reported being 1.2 million. That's a difference of 4.3 million. This not only suggests that these social media companies cannot keep up with the task of successfully managing the downsides to social media news, but that their so-called efforts are inconclusive against this information. As also reported by CFR.org, 15,000 is the number of moderators on Facebook who employ to screen content on its services. However, where there may seem to be like a big number, comparing it to the 2.7 billion people using the service, as mentioned before, 15,000 is not a lot at all. To give more insight to the ratio, it would be one moderator for every 180,000 users. Now, should this responsibility be left alone to one person? My findings are backed by CFR.org's statement that social media companies have argued that their policies are difficult to enforce. It can be tricky at times to distinguish hate speech from satire commentary, for example. Some companies say that on thus should not be on them to write the rules of the internet and have called for government regulation. Critics also say that these platforms do not enforce their rules consistently. For example, both Twitter and Facebook have allowed accounts to serve the public interest, most notably those of politicians such as former US President Donald Trump, whose abusive and misleading content might have been removed if were posted by an ordinary user. If social media companies had done more to protect against algorithmic political polarization in the first place, events like such witnessed on Wednesday, January 6th could have been avoided entirely. To that end, self-regulation will be an important component of effective reforms, but government support will also certainly be needed as well in order to achieve real change. To mitigate these societal ills, carefully crafted policy that balance civil liberties and the need for security must be implemented.
All right, that was the first rebuttal. We will go back into the other team, got a chance to listen to that. Now they can go into their breakout room and prepare their rebuttal. So we'll go into another 3-minute rebuttal, Brother Johnson, Brother Hagerbrook, and others. And at this time, we'll get to meet some of the brothers that are on the line from Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So let's go into those breakout rooms. I think, Brother Johnson, you said you got a special guest here that you wanted to introduce.
Yes, we have our National Guide Right Chairman, Brother Kevin Burnett. I want to make sure we bring him on and acknowledge Brother Burnett.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Again, it's been a great session so far. And again, I appreciate the judges and brothers for putting this together. And again, appreciate the young men. And they, I guess I'm not going to say they surprised me because I've seen it before, but they continue to amaze me. And so I look forward to this whole debate competition as it goes along. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Brother Burnett. Are there any other chapter poll marks? Is the St. Louis poll mark on? Okay. And is the New Brunswick alumni chapter poll mark on? And if not, are there brothers from those chapters that would like to speak on your poll mark's behalf on this event? you'd be speaking for your poll mark, so I'm sure they would want you to say something, right? All right.
Brother Edwards, if I might, we have Brother Elmini Viney that's on as well. And I definitely want to acknowledge him. He used to work with our National Kappa Foundation. So if he would, I would ask that he come on and give us a few words as well. Brother Viney.
Oh, you got me. I'll be very quick and say I am beyond proud. One, salute, deference given to our National Guide Right Chairman, Brother Kevin Burnett, also to all the brothers of the Eastern Province and to all the brothers and every one of the judges that are involved with this amazing event. I think this event is historic in the sense that it is taking our Kappa League and our Guide Right program, and not just that, but also the way we see the narrative and the imagery of young Black men in America to just an entirely new level. The fact that we are having debates, intellectual, high-level debates across our virtual platforms for the world to see. So I am in the depth of debate, the depth of discussion happening with these young men and the challenging of points is beyond phenomenal. I know I heard someone say that, though I went to Boston College, I heard someone say that, you know, Howard University is in the house as well as Georgetown. By far, every single one of these young men deserve a full 4-year academic scholarship somewhere. And I'm definitely in support of that. So once again, thank you to all the brothers and everyone that has put in the work on this. And yes, salute to each and every one of you. And I'm in the passenger seat, just as FYI.
All right. Thank you, brother. I think we are.
Brother Edwards, we just
Yes.
kind of want to make one official. I think we messed the timing up a little bit. There probably shouldn't have been a break between the last speaker and the immediate cross-examination, but so we were a little confused by that, but we're ready.
Okay. Yeah, each team gets a breakout session to prepare their rebuttal, and then they will have each team will have 5 minutes to prepare their closing remarks. I believe that we're doing okay, Brother Crawford.
Oh, no, you know what? We apologize. There's no question in this round, correct? Yeah, right.
That's
very
correct.
good. All right, we're good. Sorry.
That's correct. No problem. Training for leadership. Awesome. All right, Brother Harbrook, I think we've got everybody back out of the breakout rooms now, and I think we're ready for the next rebuttal. Brother Johnson is going to be, what do we say, a 3-minute rebuttal? Let me make sure. Nope, 5-minute rebuttal.
We're set.
Okay. Negative team, we're waiting for your rebuttal. Once you start, time will begin.
Okay. Good afternoon, judges and colleagues. My name is Jaden, and I will provide the negative rebuttal for the St. Louis Alumni Chapter. While our opponents argue that social media news should be federally regulated, our position is that social media news should not be federally regulated. We feel that our opponent's argument is weak and baseless. Firstly, the affirmative speaker stated that national security is at risk. They also talked about terrorism. In fact, our research has found that national security is not at risk. What makes this situation better? That the government can control what you can and cannot see. Social media sites already work with the government when there is a question about a terrorist or a terrorist attack. So the government is always involved with terrorism. And so this argument is foundationless. We're talking about social media news. And we know that there is a small percentage of terrorism and all of the information coming in from social media. Next, also the affirmative speaker mentioned that by not federally regulating social media, one factor is misinformation. And in fact, our research has found that misinformation is limited. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, the major platforms have also taken steps to limit disinformation, including by fact-checking posts, labeling accounts of state-run media, and banning political ads. Also, according to the Council on Foreign Relations, most popular platforms ban posts that glorify or encourage violence. So this also goes on the topic with terrorism. May I repeat this? Most popular platforms banned posts that glorify or encourage violence, posts that are sexually explicit, and posts that contain hate speech. Last, the affirmative speaker also mentioned that freedom of speech is not at risk. But I don't know how he can say that, because people, humans, are the ones sharing news. We're talking about social media news. So when we think about social media platforms, we think about people being social. We think about people sharing news. We think about people liking posts. We think about people just being people and speaking and just talking, being social. So this is taking social out of social media if the government is going to regulate social media news. So people are sharing this news. And so this limits the First Amendment right. This limits people talking. So freedom of speech is at risk. I would like to say that the whole political route that our opponents are going is just only a little scope of what this argument is really saying. We're arguing that social media news should not be federally regulated. By federally regulating social media news, I mean, you're silencing people. People need to be knowing about what's going on. And they talk about this terrorism stuff. What happens if only the government can see this terrorism and they don't share news in time? Because the government is always involved in TV news. That's how they get their word out. But social media platforms, they can get their news out in seconds, in minutes. And so I would just like for the judges to really think about, is the government controlling social media news? Is it really helpful? Is it really helpful that the government can control what you can and cannot see? So hopefully that makes sense. But judges, I ask that you may carefully think about this decision. My name is Jaden, and I'm done speaking.
Okay. I think that puts us now into our last breakout room as both teams prepare their closing remarks. Brother Crawford, you agree with that? Am I on point with that?
Correct, Brother Edwards. That's 5 minutes.
Okay. So Brother Johnson will go for 5 minutes. Brother Hoggerbook, we'll let you put them in the breakout rooms. And now we'll talk to anybody that's left in our group once you put them in breakout rooms. Hey, Christian Thaxton, how are you? Christian, are you on mute?
Yeah.
Christian's like, what does he want with me? All right, I see all of these adults. I see all of these other people, and I see you and that great hair that you got. I wish I had some. Which chapter are you with, or what are you doing here?
I'm a part of New Brunswick.
Okay, what do you think about this experience? What grade are you in?
I'm in 7th.
You're in 7th grade. What do you think about the things that we're talking about and this whole virtual debate? What are your thoughts?
Well, thoughts on the debate?
Yeah, or on the topic, or Kappa one day. Okay, yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay. All right. Are you rooting your team on? Is that what's going on?
I'm trying.
All right. All right. I see Mary's iPhone. Who's that? Is that Mary?
Yes. Hi. I am a mama who's doing double duty right now.
Okay,
So,
Mama's always doing double duty. So
thank you for allowing us to participate. So I'm enjoying the debates. It's really good to hear them speak and be so eloquent and use emphasis and repeat their statements for emphasis. So I'm really impressed with all their vocal variety and how they're speaking. So, and they're also poised. So I'm very happy with what I'm seeing.
Mary, are you with a certain chapter? Or is your son presenting?
I don't want to share that my son is on one of the teams. Goodness.
Okay. These judges that I got are professional. I mean, first of all, they're all attorneys, so that's scary. And then the second part is they're very all professional. So I'm sure you saying which chapter you're with is not going to
impact that. Okay.
Impact that not at all. These are top-notch folks, and I'm thankful to have them. So, but we're glad to have you as a parent, and glad that you've allowed us to be a part of your son's journey. We don't take that lightly at all. We take this charge very important because we're training for leadership.
Yes, no, and you guys, I speak of everything that you guys are doing to other people, other parents, just to really vocalize all the mentorship, the leadership, just everything that Dr. Booker and the team in New Brunswick is doing with the kids is phenomenal. And so every time it comes around to apply, I always tell parents, please, please, please have your children apply. You do not understand the importance of mentorship, especially at an early age for young Black men. It's great to have dad, but it's also great to have those other men around just to teach you and bring you up. So I'm really grateful for all the work that you all do. So thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man. We'll let you get back to football or
soccer.
Oh, it's soccer.
Soccer.
Okay, right.
The other son's playing soccer. Okay, thank you guys. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you. How about Kenneth Neighbors or Troy? Any comments from you? Okay. Daryl Lewis. And I see another number that ends in 3408. Okay. All right.
Good, brothers. Can you hear me? My name is Cinciano Potter. I am an initiative of New Brunswick Alumni Chapter. I didn't want to speak for my poll mark because I wasn't prompted to. So I know you asked the question, like, could you speak on behalf of your poll mark? And I didn't want to misspeak on his behalf. I know his birthday is this weekend, but we just wanted to talk about the pride that we have in regards to the Guide program in general. Both chapters have shown outstanding scholarship and preparation in this, and we take though we take pride and we are rooting for New Brunswick alumni, St. Louis alumni is amazing. We take pride also in those young men and their scholarship, their leadership, and the way that they're able to share their thoughts. I'm here with my line brother, Devin Booker, Devin White. I'm so sorry. And half of my face is swollen, so that's the reason why my camera's not on. But again, this is one of the most outstanding displays of our scholarship and training for leadership. So we just thank you for having this platform and allowing us to do this.
Thank you, Brother Cloud. Thank you. Yeah, one day these young men are going to be in audiences and groups in the office, and we want them to be able to intelligibly speak to current events and things that are going on. Sometimes when you're in those audiences, you tend to just walk away or don't speak because you're either one, not competent enough to speak on the matter, you're not courageous enough to say your opinion, and sometimes you're left out of those conversations with other colleagues to where you could be there and be able to speak and say, you know what, I don't totally agree with that, and here's why. So we want to be able to allow these young men to do that, because I remember those situations where I had to just put my head down and walk away because I didn't know what they were talking about and couldn't do that, and I felt bad. So now we're in an opportunity to fix that, and I can fix that through the next young man. Brother Johnson, how much time we got left before we get into our closing remarks?
They should be coming back in.
Okay. Judges, what will happen at the end of this, once you're done, please, in way of either email or direct message, send me back your immediate winners. And then in email, send me back your evaluation document. We want to be able to quickly give back the winner here. We've only got 3 judges, so you should be able to run your tallies up and give me back direct message, either by email or within this chat, your winner and score. And then in email, later on at your leisure, hopefully within 30 minutes or hour after this call, give me back your score sheet. So that way we can give that feedback and assessment and evaluation back to these young men. They want to be able to use that to improve how they interact and debate in the future. So having your feedback is going to be very important to us. At this time, Brother Huckabee, I see you're bringing people back into the room. I think we've got, if I recall correctly, the negative team will present for 3 minutes, and then we'll go right into the affirmative closing remarks as well for 3 minutes. Negative team, I'm done talking. I'll let you have it. Closing remarks.
Good afternoon, judges and colleagues. Again, my name is Jaden, and I will provide the closing remarks for St. Louis Alumni Chapter. With everything being said today, it is clear that social media news should not be federally regulated. May I remind you that by federally regulating social media news, humans are being blinded from a widespread area of news. Research from the Council on Foreign Relations has found that major platforms are constantly fact-checking posts, limiting disinformation, and employing thousands of people to screen posts for violations. I mean, how does this evidence not justify that social media news should not be federally regulated? In fact, our research has identified that these popular platforms ban posts that encourage violence, posts that are sexually explicit, and posts that contain hate speech. Posts that contain hate speech. When I think about my future, I think about my future children. I think about their friends and their friends and their friends. How would they feel if the government controlled what they could and could not see? What they could and could not see. Children, neither adults, should be hidden from social media news. If social media news is federally regulated, who's to say that our own government won't hide news from us? Who's to say? Who is to say that the news from the government is always truthful? I mean, violence, sexually explicit photos and videos, and hate speech adds to this country's list of problems. But social media platforms are doing their own part to limit these problems on their platform. These platforms generally comply with the laws of this country, of the countries where they operate. So how could social media news be harmful? Social media news is no different from any other source of news and cannot cause any more harm to humans. Judges, I'm assuming that you have either grandkids, children. Think about what they would want. But it is not fair to federally regulate the people's voice. It is not fair. My voice would like to be heard, and I'm sure your voice would like to be heard also. Judges, due to our thorough evidence, as that you consider and find in favor of our argument. My name is Jaden, and I am done speaking.
Okay, and now we will hear the final closing remark from the affirmative team.
All right, hello judges, hello panel, hello St. Louis Kappa team. I'm Christopher Outlaw and I'm here to represent the affirmative closing for this debate. So to be clear, I will say this. I partially agree with the negative team in that that social media news and common news networks are very similar. However, I want to bring this point up. I want to make this point clear. ABC, NBC, MSNBC, the networks that are always running and showing news almost 24/7, they are regulated by the FCC. They are regulated by the guidelines that ensure that they cannot report information that is false or represent information that is damaging to the public. That being said, there are multiple news networks that are airing different perspectives from a Republican side of view, a Democrat side of view, from any side of view. So by you saying that both social media networks and other news networks are similar, then why would it be improbable or impossible for the same regulations that are placed on typical news networks to be placed on social media networks? For that reason, I do want to get into the one source that you mentioned as well. The way you quoted, most platforms ban posts that glorify violence, hate speech, or sexual violence. If you read further into that passage, you see that at the source ends with that. The source ends saying that social media companies are unable to control or unable to manage their the sources that they're reading. So, with that being said, social media is still a threat, and as the affirmative side, we are not asserting that the government completely controls all of social media and damages the reputation or damages people's ability to state their own beliefs and values. We are essentially arguing for the idea for the government to work with social media companies and explicitly state in the code of conduct and in their guidelines that they will take up arms and make sure to regulate social media so that harmful posts that are dangerous and do incite feelings of rebellion and of terrorism are protected and banned. With that being said, while the opposing team believed that our argument was weak and baseless, we believe as the affirmative team that social media should be regulated in order to ensure that social media is free and protects everyone's rights. Because algorithms are used in social media companies to boost people's posts and to ensure that their information is being spread around to as large of an audience as possible. We believe that as profit-driven companies, social media should be held accountable and should be liable to take action and to make sure that the posts that they are monitoring and controlling between users are kept safe, are kept appropriate.
Awesome job by both chapters. I'm asking everybody to turn your cameras on. When the song says turn your lighters on, turn your cameras on. Let's take a picture of this, Brother Johnson, of all of these highly intelligent, great job students, great job future leaders. We're going to take a picture of this. We've got almost 40 people in here watching these young men getting ready for life, getting ready to present arguments and debate in life. We're going to take a picture of all of us on this gallery. So if you think the kids did a good job, give a thumbs up or put that reaction sign up that says good job or smile and clap for him. We're going to take a great picture, Brother Johnson. I'm going to snap the screen too. Great job. Awesome. We captured it. Great.
I think Brother Hogglebook has to take it off of highlight. I think because it's highlighting you as the speaker.
Okay. We're going to take a gallery picture.
I have it.
Yeah.
I have the gallery picture. We're good.
And I see a mom or somebody there, 3408. Is that a mom or somebody there?
Yes, I am. Well, no, I'm not a mom of one of the students, but I'm Ricky Connor's wife and Jacoby and Malcolm's mother.
Okay, great.
Great. Support.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting and allowing us to pour into your family and your son. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to give. So I think we were able to take a picture. I know judges are feverishly tabulating their scores. Brother Johnson, you know how this works. I'm going to engage with the judges a little bit to make sure I get the scores and the winners correct. Email me directly or private message me. Brothers, if you want to, brothers from St. Louis, New Brunswick, if you want to speak a little bit and give us a little bit of filler time while I calculate and tabulate the scores and get everything ready. Judges, I want to hear from you ASAP.
Well, before you do that, Brother Edwards,
Yeah.
can I just say, and I know I asked you a lot of questions.
You do. You absolutely
but you did a great job. And I really want to think we all want to thank you for what you pulled together and what it came out. All the kids enjoyed participating. I think it was really impressive. So I just want to give a claps and a thumbs up and thank you, brother. This was very, very well done. Well done.
I love it. I love it. For our kids, man. This is all we got. This is all we got. This is the rent that we pay on this earth, is to pour into our babies.
Dr. Edwards, I'm sorry, Brother Carter, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say to the young men from St. Louis Kappa League, you did a tremendous job. I know how hard our young men worked on this topic and the amount of energy they poured into it, and it was clear that you guys have put in the same level of energy. So my hats off to your chapter, to the brother, the St. Louis alumni. Great job. And Jaden's going to be a tremendous lawyer one day. A lot of fire and brimstone. Enjoy listening to you speak and listen to you present your argument.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. This is Ricky Conlon from St. Louis alumni. We really appreciate the competition, and we are impressed with your the amount of work that you put in there. Also, I want to tell all the boys what I told my team. You guys are standing on the shoulders of greatness. I consider myself great. I consider my sons great. All of these men on here are great. So stand on our shoulders, lean on us. Come back and ask us anything you need, any kind of question. I really enjoyed coaching this, and I look forward to the next one, hopefully next year or before.
Sounds great. I've got one of 3 judges. I'm waiting on the other 2.
I would actually like to hear from some of the Kappa Leaguers from the competing teams as to what their feedback is from participating in this competition.
I would like to say I really enjoyed this time. I thank you, judges, for the time that you spent with us. I think it's a great time to just this whole competition. It was just great because this is my first whole debate competition, and so it's great practice because I would like to keep doing debate, and so this organization is definitely helping me out, and I love to see even more Black young men like me, really just showing how excellent we can be, being strong together.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other feedback from any other young men?
Somebody from New Brunswick, what do you guys think of the experience? Because most of you have not been on debate teams.
I thought it was like really fun, and I liked having the chance to argue for the negative position when we were preparing for this debate. It gave me a glimpse as to how to help make our argument better when I was researching stuff to cross-examine my own team.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot too. I retained a lot of information during the process of getting ready for the debate. And I had a lot of fun with it. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody else?
I was going to echo the same sentiments of Jaden, I believe. And essentially, it was really fun to, reach out to more the Kappa Leaguers in my own chapter, prepare and work with them to come up with as solid of a case as we could. And even though I know I'm about to graduate high school, it is fun to just really get into the thick of debate and really figure out how you can not only project your voice and make sure that you can contribute and have an opinion on the topic that we're discussing, but also making sure that you're reading and you're being able to understand what your sources are saying, and to make sure that even though you can read it and process it in your mind, it comes out coherently and it comes out easy to understand for a panel of judges. So I want to thank you all for having us. I thank you a lot and of allowing us to compete.
This is really great. We're doing great by time. I've got 2 of 3 judges in. I'm waiting on my last judge, and this is really looking good. Very competitive, looking really good. No pressure on that last judge.
It was just sent. You should have it now.
And thanks to all the judges for volunteering their time, and for everyone else who contributed to the event. I mean, watching these young men construct arguments and grow and push the envelope and problem solve, it really is something beautiful to see. And so I echo the sentiments of everyone else who champion our young men on both sides.
I also want to bring up just the fact that to be able to rebut in kind or in real time is very, very difficult. So it's powerful to be able to see young men being able to counter each other's points in real time, being able to research, grab posts, or getting information for each other to make sure that they are able to eloquently state their points. Again, I'm rooting for New Brunswick, but St. Louis, Jaden Jones, if I ever need a lawyer, you're probably going to be the person that I'll be looking for. I think that you're very charismatic. Outlaw, you did a great job. Books, great work as well. And again, this was a great event.
Awesome. Brother Johnson, did we get everybody that we wanted to hear from, or is anybody else? We do have the results in.
Sorry, could I jump in and bogart for 1 second? I would love, just as a judge, I think these students were probably more engaged in observing each other more than any of us could have, and have more depth of knowledge in the argument. You clearly were very respectful and observant of each other. What were some of the great things you thought the other side did? That's for the Kappa Leaguers.
They're great questions. They're great questions. They made me think. I tried to get my answers as fast as possible, tried to think on my feet, but those were pretty good questions.
I guess like questioning the validity of like my sources, and like having those types of questions, I was able to like tell them more about it, and I thought that was very beneficial to share that.
I like how they addressed the judges and incorporated them into their argument, getting their story.
I like how they came prepared with their sources. That made it more of a challenge.
I like how personal they got.
I liked how they, not only did they know their sources, I liked how they were able to really use those sources to strengthen their argument.
I like everyone's delivery for each argument, for each side. I like the diction.
Same idea. They were very passionate with their argument and made sure to be convincing, to the point where had me doubting for a second.
Judge Howard, I think you asked the best probably question out of the entire session today. Youth voice is so important, and youth choice is so important in this. This is for them. And so I heard a couple of things: delivery, fact check, passion, convincing. I think those things will resonate with them forever. Jordan, were you about to say something? I saw you motion. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Scott, can I get a drum roll here or something like that? Is that how we do it? Got to go on mute, Scott. We can't even hear the drum roll. Come on. Yeah, now I got it. All right. Both teams did very well. Both teams did very well in a very close decision. Round 1 of the National Kappa League Debate Challenge. our first debate today. We may or may not have one at 4 o'clock, but for today's 2 o'clock debate, everybody's looking like even. Kendra, you know I do this every time, right? I just get quiet and pause.
Come on, brother. Give them the results, man.
Right. Very close. In winning today's debate competition, the negative team, St. Louis advances. St. Louis advances. St. Louis wins and advances to the next round. Great job. Great job, all.
Thank you all so much. And great job to the New Brunswick team as well. Thank you.
Yes, great job, everybody. Thank you.
And as Brother Hagerbrook has this slide up, this event, you know, culminates in a huge event for us on Saturday, June 12th, where we have our virtual National Kappa League Debate Challenge. You see the chapters here: New Brunswick, St. Louis, Lawrenceville and Duluth and Gretna, Stockbridge, Jonesboro, Washington, D.C., Decatur. All of these chapters will progress through this bracket, culminating to our National Debate Challenge virtual on Saturday, June 12th. Great job, New Brunswick. Great job, St. Louis. Congratulations to both teams. And congratulations to St. Louis as they advance and try to maintain their record throughout this. Thank you all so much for calling in. Thank you for the technology support. I definitely appreciate that. Brother Hagerbrook, thank you. You made this job so much easier for me. Woo. Thank you so much. Very professional background drop. Young men, way to wear your bow ties, way to look sharp, way to look great, way to feel great. We are proud of you, and I hope that you're proud of yourselves. You could be doing anything else right now, but on Sunday at 2 o'clock, we wanted to pour into you at least for 2 hours, some of us, and I hope that pouring was good. Brother Scott Johnson, anything else, and we'll close this out.
Oh, I just want to say thank you to both teams for your participation, and we're looking forward to, even though this is for our National Kappa League debate, we're still looking forward to this continuing on in a larger capacity. To our judges, I want to say thank you to each of you for taking your time out of your schedules today. Coaches, great job preparing your teams, and parents, definitely thank you for your support of your young men. Have a good afternoon.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.